saying they're coming down. They're coming. That actually was a proper term, believe it or not, because from a scientific perspective, the ultraviolet light is the higher spectrum. So these positives were coming through that end into our reality. They were manifesting. But this was the key point to remember. Now, I'm from the old school of racing through houses all around the world and castles looking for ghosts and vampires and Frankenstein, using infrared light. Now, the infrared light was allowing you at home to see in the dark so that we could portray what we were seeing. But what we didn't understand at the time is that the infrared light was having an adverse effect on the beings that were materializing from the other end of the spectrum. It reacts almost like acid does to our skin. They pulled back. They wouldn't engage with the ultraviolet or the infrared light being there. Likewise, when we switch to the other side of the coin, the negatives, who are much closer to us, I must add, than the positives, they were coming through the reds into our and manifesting to create activity, to create manifestations, to move objects and everything else. But ultraviolet light had an adverse effect on them. So as Steve has rightly added, the ultraviolet light can create a safe room within a house that is disturbed. They will not manifest in that light. But that is only a temporary solution.
Only temporary, of course, yeah. But we do know, what can we say about this phenomenon? Well, no matter what books you read and what you'll see on television or what somebody might tell you, the evidence is simple. It's there in millions and millions of data around the world that this phenomena is age-old. It probably predates documented history. It has different names. It's called different things. It's been explained as different things because this phenomena has many masks. And one thing that we do know, that the probability of sky gods and demons and angels and all these wonderful things that we hear could be all interrelated. And we know that there are over 12,000 varied reported types of phenomena world back, dating thousands of years. Over 12,000 varied types. So are we saying there are 12,000 different types of entities? Or are we saying...
At this video we've all been wanting to see. This video came out in 2019 and it shows US Navy pilots seeing an alien craft. This video was taken near the east coast of the USA. You may think Navy personnel are just on boats, but there are also Navy pilots who patrol the sea. This video was actually caught in 2018, but declassified in 2019. In the video you can see a UFO with no wings and no tail. The plane flying above was a Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet. This is a $67 million fighter jet that the USA have many of. It's estimated the USA have over 600 of these, and they go at a top speed of 1,300 miles per hour. On the video, one pilot can be heard saying, "What is that thing?" Another then says, "Oh my gosh dude, look at that flying." The video is only 35 seconds long and is in black and white. That's because it was caught by an infrared camera. At the time it was filmed, the jet was traveling at 25,000 feet in the air. That's slightly lower than where most aeroplanes would be flying. So that means this UFO was flying really close to the sea, much closer than any aircraft would. After this video was declassified, many people reached out to the Department of Defense. However, each time they declined to comment on the video. One of the pilots who were flying the plane that took this video said it was kind of like an oval-shaped object hovering above the sea. So we know it's clearly something, and we know it was not an airplane. But recently things have got even more strange. Weeks ago, new reports were released by the US Navy. These reports detail events between 2014 and 2015. In the reports, seasoned US Navy pilots describe a number of UFO encounters during missions. They said mid-flight their radar equipment detected seemingly impossible objects flying at hypersonic speeds. These UFOs would be flying at altitudes of up to 30,000 feet. And mysteriously, the UFOs did this with no visible means of propulsion. This means there was nothing the pilots could see that was actually moving these UFOs. On airplanes, we have things like contrails and spinning propellers to know they're moving. And on fighter jets, there's often fire coming out of the exhaust. One pilot said the UFOs look like tiny white specks. This was a UFO they would see oftenly, and it was actually nicknamed Go Fire. fast. That's right, they saw these UFOs so often they actually had to give them nicknames. Another UFO they often saw looked like one large dark blob. This UFO was nicknamed Gimbal. Lieutenant Danny Acoin said they had no distinct wings, no distinct tail, and no exhaust plume. This meant there was no visible way these UFOs were moving, but they were, and at hypersonic speeds. The lieutenant said he got a very strange feeling when the UFOs first showed up on his radar. At first he thought it was a false alarm, but he then said he saw multiple sensors reading the exact same thing, which confirmed it was not a mistake. Lieutenant Acoin said he tracked the UFOs twice on 2 different missions. In the report, an F-18 pilot named Ryan Graves reported something similar. He said when he was flying around the Arabian Gulf, he saw some UFOs appear in 2015. He said he had issues with UFOs in the Middle East. At first, he simply thought they were part of the drone program he didn't know about. However, it turned out no drones were actually operating the day he was flying in the Middle East. Legally, US Navy pilots are sworn to secrecy about many of the things they see. This means they can't openly say what they've seen, whether it's UFOs or something else. However, just weeks ago, this report was declassified. But remember, these were events that happened in 2014 and 15. So just imagine what's happening right now which we don't know anything about. Chances are all of the biggest UFO evidence will remain classified for some time. But it seems more and more info is coming out every single day. And that video, along with these new reports from lieutenants, really makes you think, what's out there? Vote in the poll in the top right corner and you can tell me whether you think UFOs are real or not. Personally, based on the evidence I've seen, I do believe there are UFOs out there.
With our lecture. Okay.
It's a good fit, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good. For those that were here, this is a continuation. For those that weren't, what we actually discussed yesterday is the aspects of ufology, true understandings of what this actual phenomenon consists of. Thank you. And what does it really consist of? I mean, are we really just adding a stone to the mountain we've already got, with another photograph, with another video, with another story? For me, 37 years in on this subject, and Barry's, sorry Barry, but I'm not far off the same. It's about advancing the subject. It's frustrating for us when we're not getting any further, no new developments, no new answers. And what is it it's going on? Well, there are many different theories out there, but we're trying to get to the truth of the matter. And what we've done with Phenomena Project is looked and scrutinised this case behind the scenes, analysing, looking at the connections, and realising very quickly it's much, much more than what we're actually being told, and there's probably good reason for that. We're going to explain that today in a continuation of Project Doorway. I said to you yesterday we were going to be providing evidence. We are going to be providing evidence. We're going to be providing data to you today that you can go away with and check for yourself. Because I always say to people, check yourself. It's not about you here to listen to us and believe us. It's out there for you to check yourself and find out. And we're going to tell you how to do that. This gentleman, very well known, John Keel. Most people might know his name from the Mothman prophecies. He investigated the case, amongst many other incidents. He wrote a book some years back called The Eighth Tower. And at this time, ufology was kind of accepted to be an extraterrestrial hypothesis. It's a nuts and bolts craft. It's traveling to us from distant space. That's what my mentors told me 37 years back. That's what it's all, Steve. They're just extraterrestrials traveling from distant planets. Well, I think we can pretty much, most of us can say now that it consists of a little bit more than that. John Keel was right on the key here, because he said, right from beginning, that the phenomena also is associated with the paranormal, the supernatural, the metaphysical. And in fact, he stated, after doing many investigations, came to the conclusion that multiple types of entities were interacting with humankind coming from numerous different, here we go, realities. He didn't say different planets, he said different realities, for which he called ultra-terrestrials. Now, that was a terminology. It was the first time it was discussed there in this book. Nobody really took it seriously. In fact, a lot of people laughed at John and said, what are you talking about? It's all ETs, it's all travelling from planets. And he didn't believe that. There is a more common name to ultra-terrestrials now. It's known as interdimensionals. Same type of thing. And he wasn't the only one. Another person that came forward was Dr. Jacques Vallée in his books, and he said exactly the same thing. But really, we're only talking about two principal investigators here against a world of people thinking that we were dealing with extraterrestrials travelling to Earth in masses, as it would be in masses, by ships from other planets. Through studies, we have found that negative paranormal disturbances seem to have an evasion. We know this, don't we, Barry, from doing some of the paranormal
Absolutely,
cases.
yeah.
And what is it that we're evading? We don't really know. It's certainly referenced as paranormal, but that's such a big word. It means so many different things. But one thing is for sure, that we seem to show evidence of an evasion against ultraviolet light. Now, if people have had paranormal disturbances, and some people do, I would suggest that's one way to help diminish or start or lull the activity, is by flooding your area with ultraviolet lamps or ultraviolet lights.
Absolutely. You see, you've got to understand that this spectrum that you see up here displayed, that is how we perceive the world, through the colours of reds to violets. That's how we see each other, that's how we see the sky and the earth. But what we began to see within the experiments is that beyond the outer edges of that spectrum, we were ending up, within the world of the paranormal, we were ending up making contact with these beings that were living beyond, on either side of this spectrum. Now, we lie somewhere around the greens and the reds, or the greens and the yellows, so that was grand. But when we talk about positive anomalies...
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat for you in this one. UFO goes through a portal. Take a look at this. This portal almost seems to be square in shape. Look at this UFO over here. There it goes right through the portal. This is some interesting footage, to say the least. Unfortunately, the source did not want to give out the location. This was an anonymous submission sent in to us. All we know is there is some data on the video, and it did say that it was filmed July 9th, 2019. And this definitely looks like a UFO. Look at that. You can see it starting to go into the portal over there. Looks like the portal almost moved for a second. Then it's gone. It just goes right through. You can see it seems like a pretty steady day. The trees are moving a little bit. And unfortunately, as we mentioned, we don't have a location for you. But look at this UFO. I mean, this thing... What is going on over here? And then the footage cuts off. Not sure what happens, how long that portal was open for, or anything else. Here's the footage slowed down. You can see right there, it starts to go in. It looks like the portal is moving a little bit. There it goes. That is some incredible footage, to say the least. Here's a close-up shot. Take a look at that portal. Definitely looks like it's almost square in shape. We have seen other clips that have been sent in to us, and usually the portals are circular in shape, but this is some interesting footage, to say the least. Well, we want to pass it off on to you, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think's going on over here? A UFO goes through a portal, for sure. It definitely looks like an unidentified flying object. If you have any further information on this, please leave it down in the comments below. Remember, if you like seeing these videos, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification when you subscribe so that you get to see all the UFO videos. This is Max with UFO Sightings. Have a good one. Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at our footage over here. UFO Sightings, organic object. Take a look at this thing. This footage comes to us from Michigan. Look at that. It looks like a pretty windy day. This is the first time I'm looking at this clip. This brand new footage we received it July 10th, 2019. Take a look at this UFO. Almost looks like it's changing shape over here. You can see the bottom part of it starting to curve up. Some interesting footage over here. And is this in fact organic? There you can see how the shape has changed. Looks like a pretty windy day over here. Looks like it's cloudy too. Looks like some kind of delivery area over here. Oh, there was a person at the bottom right of the screen. Not sure if they happen to see this UFO over here. This is definitely an interesting object. This is the first time we're seeing anything like it. Looks like there's look at that shape. That is just first time seeing anything like it, as you mentioned. I'm sorry, I'm just repeating myself over here. Trying to see the UFO. And there you can see how it just changes shapes. It looks like and here's a close-up shot at the original in the beginning of the video. It looks like it could possibly be made out of some kind of metal. There you can see a bunch of spikes around it. Some excellent footage over here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to pass this off on to you if you were in the Michigan area and you happen to spot this UFO. Let us know down in the comments below. I want to say thank you to Bob for sending in this footage. Once again, July 10, 2019. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you like seeing these videos, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Check out the links in the description below when you see.
Hi YouTube. Today we're heading off to Jacksonville, Florida to examine a UFO sighting that was shot by a military man. Hello everyone, I'm Darren Crapo and welcome to UFO Planet. The description for this event goes like this. Driving home from work, notice disc-shaped object hover behind clouds where it then vanished. Snap some photos and looks nothing like I have ever seen before in my time in the military and on the outside. Sounds pretty exciting, and this is a military guy, so you would think he would understand a little bit about, potential military aircraft anyway. So what are some potential explanations for this event? Is it possible that we're looking at the real deal? This is a snapshot of an actual flying saucer. Is it a bug way up in the sky? I honestly don't think so, because this was shot from inside the car through the car window. Is it a clever CGI fake? There's some really talented people out there that can make some fascinating looking photographs and videos. Is it military? Did the military man miss something? Or has something changed since he left the military? Or are we looking at just a man-made aircraft? When we take a little bit closer examination of this object and look at some of the characteristics, you can see on top what looks like a possible dome. Easy to see, kind of stands right out there. On the front leading edge, it looks like it's entering the clouds like he said it did. Now, one thing that concerned me is I thought there was some poor pixelation around the UFO, but then when you compare it to the rest of the photograph